Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Captain's Quadrant. We are honored today because we have probably the most beloved introductory character in Star Trek Strange New Worlds, who became the big baddie at the end of the series. Spoilers, sorry. If you haven't seen it, where have you been? But we have the honor to have Chris Myers with us today. How are you, Chris? Welcome to the Captain's Quadrant.
I'm good. Thank you. The honor is mine.
I appreciate that. We're going to be hanging out together in June next year because you're going to be at Trek Long Island.
I am.
Is that your first con?
Huh?
Is this your first con?
Okay, so yeah, it's scheduled. I mean, there's a few that are like kind of coming into place, but at the moment, this is the first of them. So yeah, that holds.
Yeah, that's cool, right? It's like you get to interact with the fans and see the reactions in person because a lot of people, like I know that our team had mixed reactions, but we all equally loved your character.
Thank you.
Right off the bat. And we were like, oh, everybody's like going through this trauma and delirium and all this like hardship. But this guy's all cheery and happy. We love him. And then you got killed and we're like, no. But yeah, so I did a little research and I found out you were trained at Juilliard, which has produced so many powerful performers. How did the classical training help shape your approach on the stage and screen acting?
Yeah, that's a great question because, I like to nerd out about this stuff and history. I'll try to keep it like relatively.
You're good. Do whatever you want, man.
Well, but the thing I'll say is like Juilliard is really technical training. In fact, it's an acting school, but acting class is maybe 20% of your time. I mean, there's a big chunk where you're actually in rehearsal. That's maybe 30 to 40. But there's still, I would say, the largest component is stuff like physical acting, vocal training, both breath, text work. You might do character masks. You might do, there's all these other things, ballroom dance, Alexander technique. So it was designed for a time when actors were actually expected to go out and mostly have to do theater and transform and be able to speak to thousands of people. And it was designed so that you'd be able to do all that. Yeah. The industry has actually changed where increasingly that work doesn't pay enough. There aren't big enough audiences and really actors are being funneled into TV. And TV as a whole streaming specifically, doesn't really necessarily challenge you in the way that theater might, and therefore in the way that Juilliard training was designed to. So kind of graduate with all these tools and you very rarely get opportunities to use most of them. The exception, of course, is what I got to do, where I had to construct a character who had all kinds of different things going on with him. And then that character itself transforms and there has to be a lot. So I actually found, especially in terms of my screen work, that this was maybe the most demanding thing that I have had to do so far in my career. And the physical acting and the voice, you saw it all come out in your choices, very much indebted to Juilliard for that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Because I noticed there's a big difference between, I did small theater when I was a kid and I did a couple of commercials. And then there was a big difference between projecting to a theater and projecting to an AR wall, which did any buddy tell you to a little bit too loud? Or you like breaking the mics or anything like that? Because I know it's like diaphragm speaking and.
No, it's actually a pretty cool. It's very immersive and it's kind of like a vibe in the room. So you can play to as if you were really wherever it was supposed to be, a chamber and a strange planet. You kind of the lights are dimmed. It does feel like you're in the right place.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So looking back at your early projects like Oval and Bex, what did those indie film experiences teach you about storytelling?
About storytelling. Yeah. I mean, those, especially early indie films, they're shot without a lot of budget. So
no food.
Food is how they really make sure that nobody revolts.
Okay. All right. There we go.
When people aren't fed, they start revolting. But people do a lot for no money, myself included. I mean, if the project is right, you always see actors who, even if they're used to getting millions of dollars, they'll work for 10% of that if they believe in the script. And I think indie film really does strip down. It has to be a good script. It has to be interesting. Otherwise, people wouldn't agree to do it. So you it's that passion. It's that real desire to tell a story that you find in indie film. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot more wholesome to shooting an indie film. I've done cheap stuff myself. Like, you can't do that. Like when I was really broke. Basically like building sets. The experience,
Mm.
like one of the best things because you feel good that you were able to help somebody's dream come to fruition. So I'm pretty sure that's kind of like how you felt. So were you a Star Trek fan to begin with? This is like the big moment for your career, or this is one of those, let me audition for that because I think this will work out.
Well, fan, yes, but I say this, but I want to qualify that, like not Trekkie, right? Like I
Mhm.
grew up watching the Sci-Fi Channel, whatever it was going. So a lot of original series reruns were
Mhm.
in my constant viewing. I grew up, in the era of UPN, so I guess that was Deep Space Nine, I believe.
Yeah, man.
So,
That's
but I wasn't like seated. I wasn't like every X day on X time. It was more like a passive. So like that's why I say fan. I was always a fan of the show, but
mhm.
I feel like what I've really come to appreciate is how deep real Star Trek Trekkie fandom goes, and I don't ever want to pretend like I was at that level. But I've always been a diehard sci-fi fan, and
That's
and and Star Trek is such a respected kind of IP and universe, and the people who tend to take it up care so much about
mhm.
it, on the business side, like all the people. And I know, everybody has their favorite series and this, and that, but like I can say every single person who dares be an executive producer on Star Trek absolutely loves it. And
Yeah.
that love creates this environment where everybody feels like their inner kid, and Anson is a great example of this, because he's a big fan, but like if you weren't a fan, working on the show makes you a fan.
Right. Right. Because I feel like you're getting the secret to the sauce
Mm.
because you're there, and what we see as fans is like all this massive world building and these different planets and the new lives and new civilizations. But what you're seeing is like camera, green screen, air wall. It's a whole different experience.
Mhm.
But I'm sure it's still as compared to some of the other shows that you were in. Was this like a big, massive budget show? Was this like a
Oh yeah.
huge change for you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it totally is the biggest thing I've ever done. Um, I've worked with a lot of great people, but they've been kind of story forward. You know, I've worked in an actual Mohegan Sun, casino with Giovanni Ribisi. That's for an actor, that's a great opportunity. But there's
Yeah.
something about the Star Trek of it all, the scale, the sets, the locations, the props, the makeup, the prosthetics. You add all that stuff in, and it's truly like a different. But at the same time, I don't know. It's like different, but it's also not. Like it's also just a
Mhm.
set, and that's why I keep coming back to like it really is the people, like the crew, the actors, the producers. Everybody's so nice, and like that
Mhm.
actually made it so that it never felt, for me anyway. Like, I cannot underscore how much I'm a huge sci-fi nerd. Like there was part of me that was like, wow, like I'm on the Enterprise, but there's also part of me that was like, this is also just like a really fun workplace, and like
Yeah.
I don't have to be like nervous about the scale because everybody's so cool.
Well, that's cool. So it was like one big family,
Yeah, for sure.
essentially. That's amazing. That's amazing. We were touching on like how the fandom is, and we were talking beforehand how you're going to have your first convention coming up. So, are you prepared to get to really deep fan questions when you start signing autographs? Like, all right, so your character is Empress. What do you think? Are you ready for that? And if
I am.
have people like, have you been researching a little bit of the backstory of track?
I asked a bunch of questions to Davey Perez, who was
Mhm.
kind of like the on point lore keeper for that. And I have a little note on my computer somewhere that probably
Smart.
records a lot of it. So I'll try to review that before. But it was interesting because, excuse me, I made a Reddit account to be able to interact with the like Strange New Worlds Reddit community, and it's just also really fascinating to see, especially before the season was done, how detailed and confident fan theories are
Mhm.
while being completely wrong. But like you wouldn't know it, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's really smart people who know a lot of stuff, but it's hard to like. I feel like the writers purposely put all these like red herrings, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's just people just kind of invent whatever they want it to be.
Right,
So it's interesting. Like I love having those conversations because like sometimes people are coming up with like really good ideas. Who
right.
knows if they're actually part of it? Yeah.
I mean, we have an ongoing joke. There's on TNG, Star Trek Next Generation. They have this character called the Conspiracy Bugs.
Mm.
And one of the things about them is they said they would come back. So my co-host for like the longest time was like, "It's the bugs. They're coming back. It's the bugs. The bugs." So like the first thing when they lifted up, when your character unfortunately met his demise and he picked up that orb, he was like, "It's the bugs. It's happening." But how was it to experience that playing Ensign Gamble, which is such a beautiful, loving character, kind of uplifting, kind of being the centerpiece of positivity for the ship, and then going into the main villain? Like, how was that flip for you as an actor?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't actually zoom out and try to make a logic between the two characters so much as I developed Gamble and then developed Zeparez, but like with the palette that I'd created for Gamble in the background of my mind. So which is I'm just saying I didn't have like a master plan, for instance. And part of that is because they didn't tell me where it was going until
Really?
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
In fact, I mean, I'll share this story with you, I think is relevant. I was maybe between episode 4 and 5, up in Toronto, and they arranged for me to like go back to the city and see my friends and my partner. And I'm in the airport, and I run into Davey Perez again, the EP.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just like, "Hey, man, just so you know, we're working on some stuff for you." And I was like, "Work?" And he's like, "Yeah, just I can't say anything because it may not happen, but just we're working on some stuff."
Yeah.
Like, oh, and that kind of gave me a clue that there was more to Gamble past episode 5, but it wasn't confirmed. And even on my last day of shooting on episode 5, that they sent me off. They were like, "Thanks for all your work. See you later."
Oh, wow.
But people were like, and I'm not going to name names, I'm going to get them in trouble, but like, people were like, "I don't know. I think you're going to be coming back." But people were like saying it without saying it, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't until, I don't know, a couple of weeks later that I actually got the official, like, "We want you to come back." So, I didn't construct Gamble in a certain way to like set him up to be different. Like I just played Gamble. Yeah. And then when I got the call that I was coming back, I kind of created this other character. And the truth of the matter is I approach every character, whether it's 2 characters in one series or 2 different series, the same way. People want things. Right. And that's the most important aspect of what we call, acting here in the West, is like a person who wants something. And, the better your craft or technique, the more granular you can be about how they pursue them and how other things affect them and what the different, how they move and how they talk and how they everything, right? Tempo, where they put the weight in their body. And these are things that I actually love to play with. And again, that goes back to the Juilliard thing, but it's very instinctual, like I didn't sit down with a notebook and like write Zeparez moves like this. Mm-hmm. It was like that. Like I just kind of like I was like, what do these people want? Mm-hmm. And then play around and let that inform. So especially even in episode 5, a lot of the choices were driven by whatever, Zombie Gamble had to do in that moment. Yeah. The efficiency, the economy of movement was because, even now I'm just looking at myself, I'm not quite
centered, because I'm very broad-shouldered, so I'm like, but I'm in a weird chair where I'm like,
we start these things, and
but this is a relaxed. We're chilling. We're having a good time.
Exactly. Chilling is the concept.
Exactly.
In fact, I'll never forget in one of the Alexander technique classes we had at Juilliard, they showed like 3 brothers, ages like 4, like 10 and like 14. And the 14, they were all standing side by side, and the 14-year-old was chilling.
Hmm.
The 9 or 10-year-old who clearly looked up to his older brother was starting to understand that, but was still relatively poised. Whereas the 4-year-old is like, you ever look at kids, like they're just like always perfectly aligned,
Yeah.
perfectly poised. There's no socialization, And so Gamble was allowed to be uncomfortable and nervous. And, I didn't think this is what nervous people do. This is how I want, but it kind of comes from where he's at in the moment. Whereas once this alien creature who knows none of that
Hmm.
has control of the body, it's more actually like the 4-year-old. It's kind of this unsocialized, raw being who just like is really focused on getting what he wants, which
Right.
is escape and then, rallying the race and punishing all of life or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. So speaking of both of those characters, there was a lot of eye makeup stuff. I have like terrible eye allergies. What was it like with the makeup? And you got to wear that big mask, which I thought was
Mhm.
cool. I don't know if I know you're a sci-fi geek, but are you like a Final Fantasy geek too? Like, did you
Oh,
feel like
no.
no? Because
No, I mean, I play Tactics. Tactics is the only.
oh, okay, okay, yeah. That was a fun one. I
Yeah.
gotta give props to that. I'll give you props.
But what's the
But
character in Final Fantasy that has a?
oh, there's a ton of them. Like certain bad guys, like Final Fantasy X, is a
Mhm.
character Seymour who has this like crazy hairpiece,
Mm,
and it has that kind of like same like structure. And there's a bunch of different ones. Of like always the final form of one of the big bads has this
yeah.
like crazy like grown out almost like skull
Mhm.
morphing that just makes you feel like the villain is a big deal because he's like morphed into something more than just a human form.
Yeah.
So, how is the makeup process for you for both?
Yeah, I mean, the prosthetics team and the makeup team on those shows are incredible. I forget his last name, but his first name is Chris, the head of the prosthetics department there.
That's an easy name to remember, right?
It's really cool. I mean, if anything, I do feel like it has more effect on people who are looking at me. You know what I mean? Because I don't
Gotcha.
actually get to see any of it, and there's no
Yeah.
mirror on set. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow, really?
I mean, not that's not as a thing, but there's no. I mean, unless the scene requires a mirror, there's probably not because also it's the camera. You have to worry about the lights and
Yeah.
everything getting messed up. So I'm often, before his eyeballs got, or before I, had anything over the eyes. Actually, while there was prosthetics around me, there was just kind of black here, and then I was actually allowed to open my eyes and look.
Oh, wow. So you didn't have to put like eye things into like
Yeah, they VFX that out. They
oh, that's
wanted to go with, I think, black contacts or something. I'm
yeah,
they didn't because I get a little weird about my stuff in my eyes.
same.
So, but yeah, like if anything, it was more for other people who were looking at me. I'd be, getting craft services, eating lunch, and I'd still have all that stuff on, and people would be like, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot, like scooping my salad.
You should have been like, "Hey, I'm the final boss. I'm Mark Long. Are you ready? Pay homage to me." I would have had a lot of fun with it if I was you. So how was working on this series different from working on like The Good Fight or Sneaky Pete?
Well,
Yeah,
have you seen the Good Fight?
I can go back. I can go back.
I mean, for me, one of the things about this show is you're really in. I mean, I was on 5 episodes, right? So you're really embedded. You're really, just dug in. I mean, all my other guest stars were like maybe 2 episodes, whatever. And you get to say hi to people. But
Mhm.
for me, the biggest, again, is kind of a lot of the crew aspect. I mean, I will say in this show, I got to have fight sequences.
Cool.
There's actually some really cool stuff that was cut. I believe
Oh.
mostly for time.
Aw.
I mean, because we got the sense even there was some stuff that we had like rehearsed fight wise that we
Mhm.
didn't shoot,
Oh,
and
wow.
then I believe there's also something we shot that didn't get put in the final edit. So it was kind of aware. I mean, that the last episode has a lot going on, and I think they just had to make some tough choices. But
Mm.
yeah, like a lot of fights show up. There's fight stuff. There's stuff with the phasers. There's I was in a harness at one point flying through the air.
It was cool.
Bar scenes. It just really takes you. These are people who are really living. By which I mean the crew of the Enterprise. They're really living. They're not just going on missions. They also have this robust social life. And so when you're on the show long enough, you're partaking in all of that, and you kind of forget you're supposed to be, in the future and, on
Yeah.
a spaceship. Sometimes you're just like, oh, I'm at the bar, and that's actually a kind of fun thing because you're like, oh, I've done this scene before, And
Yeah.
that's kind of the joy, I think, of Trek is it kind of has these different kind of moments where, you really do feel like you're just watching normal people sometimes. You kind
Yeah.
of forget, oh, the pointy ears, oh, like the thing on the,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I remember that. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Did you end up building a really close relationship with Babs, Dr. Mbenga? Because when your character, when Jennings just unfortunately met his demise, his character kind of gave a lot of emotion
Mhm.
to your passing, whereas some of the other characters, I was surprised that they didn't do as such. Like Nurse Chapel,
Mm.
I would have had a better connection with you. But
Mm.
the way that Babs and you played off of each other was such a great dynamic. So how was that working relationship?
Yeah, Babs is just a really generous, easy to talk to guy. I mean, he's not necessarily like himself social, but if you like engage him, he's always going to be generous with his time.
Oh,
So yeah, like I definitely like asked him a lot of like when we were between scenes, I would talk to him not necessarily about Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, but like his actor life, his career, his choices, and he was very generous. So in that way, we got to get close. But I think it's also he's just a really good actor. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That whole they
Sure.
didn't give us. I wish they gave us, more. It's hard as everybody complains. You only have 10 episodes a season.
Yeah.
Nobody gets enough really on that show. You know what I mean? Like it should be just double the amount of episodes.
Yeah.
But I think as such a good actor as he is, he understood what the between scene relationship should have been between us.
Mhm.
And I think he just dropped right into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, I mean, not that this is your question. The person who I did end up hanging out a lot with was Ethan, actually.
Ethan Beck?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we would like go to the gym together, lift weights. We almost found like a LAN center and like played like games together. Actually, us,
That's dope.
Killian, because Killian played like Rainbow Six and I played Counter Strike. So we were gonna go and like do a whole thing. We never got to do that, but like that type of once I figured out we were all the same age and we had the same like cultural touch points, we started hanging out more.
So don't give out your gamer tag because then people are gonna like swarm you.
Nobody wants to know my gamer tag.
Yeah. So you've appeared in a diverse series from Resident to She's Gotta Have It. What makes you choose such roles? Or is it something that you just kind of, hey, I kind of like this, I'll audition, or hey, I want to be on TV, let me just audition and see how it goes?
Yeah, by the time I get to an audition, I'm still very much an auditioner. I get some in the theater, I can get the things by offer, but I'm still very much like putting together my camera career. And I there are a lot of things I choose not to audition for. Like I don't even want to have the debate about what, like if I don't like it on the page or there's something, I'm not going to even try to be considered for it.
Oh wow.
I would say like the thing that I always need to have is it needs to be a challenge. It needs to be something that I feel like either I've never done or I've never done in this way. So, The Resident, I mean, that's a great show that, I don't think people would necessarily look at that and be like, oh, you didn't have to put on any funny accents or, but it's a challenge because that kind of show, which is done well, that procedural medical show is a staple. That's like saying I don't do mysteries. I mean, it's a genre that's such a staple of the American entertainment kind of diet that you kind of have to be able to, you kind of got to rate yourself against that. You know what I mean? And I do really love the little pairing that I got to do in that. It was like a couple that was funny but tender. And it's like, you're drawn to these things as an actor. She's Gotta Have It is an easy one because you're working with Spike Lee and you're just never not going to want to do that. But I had to be specific in that one. Speaking of accents, I was playing a Jamaican dancehall artist. So I learned the whole song. Little did I know I booked it and they were like, okay, great, we'll see you at dance rehearsal. I was like, dance rehearsal? I didn't even know that's part of the gig. I had choreography.
Oh.
So that was like amazing. I mean, it was terrifying. It was terrifying. I am not I'm not Jamaican and I'm not like a pop. I'm not like a pops. I don't have like pop star energy, but that's what the role was. I was like, okay, this is terrifying and also kind of amazing. So whenever there's a challenge, I'm basically in. You know?
Yeah. Was it difficult working with Spike Lee, or
He's
no?
an interesting guy. He's one of those, like, I think a lot of those auteur directors, they know what they want immediately, and so they're also really like clear about articulating that. And he's just
Yeah.
the guy to go with the flow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I always wondered. I would be a little bit. I don't want to say nervous, but like kind of in a zone with working with Spike because he's got so many great films under his belt.
Yeah.
Wonder. So
Yeah.
I always,
Yeah,
I always be concerned about how people's perceptions are, but it's great.
That's on some level normal, but you kind of got to quickly turn it off because the work becomes best when you're unconcerned with, perception. So you kind of got to like acknowledge it and then just like black it out.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Makes sense. So going to in your theater work, theater is often described as the actor's medium. Do you still feel a pull towards live audience?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why they say that is because when you're up there on stage, it's just you. I mean, the writer wrote the thing, the director, but once the lights go up, they can't tell you what to do. I mean, obviously, if you go off course, they'll fire you. But I mean, it's live theater.
Yeah,
there's no editing, there's no post, there's no nothing, and you have to kind of keep the wheels spinning. And that's a thrilling power to like hold over an audience and to a responsibility to have to tell a story and do it right every single time, as if it was the first time and as if it were the last time. I love that. I mean, I'm working now on a play where I have to go soon.
I saw like a little clip, so I was going to ask you about that.
And what it's interesting is, I'll just say to this first question, it's also just like a thrilling thing. Like when people are kind of like at the end of their day, looking to relax, that's when I get fired up and I get the adrenaline going and I go out there. So I love it. There's nothing like it. I mean, even like Anson, for instance, we bonded because I didn't know this, and maybe that's on me. I didn't expect this about him because he's so well known for his TV work. But he's a theater nerd. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you asked him, he would love to do some rinky-dink like off-Broadway play for like 300 people if it was the right play. I don't think he needs to do it for the money. I mean, he loves that experience. I think that many actors you'll find, even if they have really amazing TV careers, it never quite scratches the itch of what theater can do.
Do you think it's like the electricity? Like, do you have like a rush when you get out in front of like a big live audience? That's what I
mean. It's the liveness and the fact that there's no help. It's just you. I mean, that's it acts as an actor's medium. It's just you up there, and that is extremely exciting. I mean, if you don't get the take right, you can just do it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times, and nobody would really know. But in theater, you get one shot, and that's a really awesome, feeling.
Yeah. So, what would you want to pursue now that Strange New Worlds is over? But there's a legacy in Trek where some of the favorite characters, the actors, because they did so well, get brought back as another species, another complete character. And I know you've watched it, as we discussed before, you watched a dibble dabble into Deep Space Nine. So you got to see all the wonderful aliens like Klingons and Jem'Hadar. And, the world of Trek is going to continue with the new owners of Paramount really pushing the revitalization of the brand. So is there like an alien species that you're like, you know what, sign me up for this?
I don't have a specific species. I mean, like to the challenge thing, like different, Zephyrus was, kind of had big baddie energy, and it'd be nice to do something, more neutral or perhaps even like goofy, something like very like,
a Ferengi. The big butt-headed guys. Like, with the big ears. Yeah, something just very comical. Maybe that.
Only thing. Okay, here's the only other thing. Okay. To any Paramount producers listening,
don't worry.
The thing is, like, man, when you're those alien species, like you are in that chair, 5 hours before everybody else.
Yeah.
At 3:00 in the morning. Getting done up. That's tough. Even Ethan with Spock ears takes like, I don't know, 2 hours or something.
Really?
Like, crazy just for that. Yeah. So that when you see people who are like fully, and I watched Discovery. I forget the guy's name who was like the tall, thin.
Saru.
Yeah.
That was Doug Jones. Yeah.
Whenever I saw him on, once I kind of, because I was watching that while I was still like getting ready and coming back between. So I knew what was happening. Like I could see what they were going through on the backstage side. You know what I mean? And whenever I saw characters like that, I was like, man, you probably got no sleep. Like that's all I could think when watching him. Because I was like, I know how long this takes to get to get going. So please bring me back to something that don't have too much fun.
I think like the way I've seen it, we've interviewed Thomas Sopran, who did First Contact and a lot of the big bad aliens. So maybe you could do like a bodysuit and then they just like glue some stuff on you and make it easy.
I like that.
Let's do that. Let's make it easy. One of the things we were talking about is we have like a common legacy. My grandfather was one of the first Black lieutenants in New York City, but your great grandfather, Wesley Williams, was the first Black fire chief in New York City. How has that legacy of breaking barriers influenced your own career path?
Yeah, that's a great question. And yeah, very cool shared history. Yeah. I think, all right, this is a question, and I know you've followed me on social media, so you know that I think about a lot more than just acting stuff. And, I think historically, guys in those generations, it was important to be a first. And now we're actually quite in a different era where I think it's not a question of like breaking necessarily into a space, but now what do we do with this space? I think it's a different kind of problem. And it's a problem of like shared resources or, not shared resources that could be shared. I mean, for me on a simple level, like as an actor, I've done a lot of work acting teaching, but I've specifically done it in like what we might call under-resourced communities. Like I don't do it for the money. I've taught in prisons. I've taught in after school programs. I've mentored kids who are like at risk. Like this is for me a really important thing that, because there's not enough structurally in society to like, I mean, there is enough. It's just, like I said, it's resource distribution. Like, I don't think that currently the resources are spread around enough so that everybody can kind of get the help that they need. So it's very important for me that I carve time out of my life, no matter how busy I get, I hesitate to even say give back. I think we just all kind of have a responsibility to like draw people up.
Yeah. So build up rather than give back.
Yeah. Because I think, I also don't want to put too much distance between myself and the communities that I'm trying to like, engage with. Like, I think that you can also quickly become of a kind of savior mindset, and I try to avoid that. Like, I've mentored kids, like I said, and I've learned from them. I try to teach them about whatever I know about life, but their perspective on life and how they see the world, the wonder that they have over little things. I mean, that helps me be a better person. So it's not like, what I mean? Even just like a one-way thing.
Yeah. So looking forward, now that you've given or kind of lifted up as you're going up, is there a role that you think that you might want to tackle that was like maybe an activist, civil rights activist or something that really broke a barrier that you could kind of funnel hope into someone also coming up? Because I know you do a lot of activism work. I've seen because I follow you on social media, and I greatly appreciate that. I was very involved years ago, and I know how difficult it is, especially somebody like you that's got to audition and theater and dance. Now, it's got to be difficult to manage all that time. So, how is it? What's something that you would kind of jump into to inspire folks?
I mean, I think I'm trying to do it every day. I've learned it's really important to set goals, but have like a long-term goal, but then like a tangible, practical thing you could do today. So what you see me trying to talk about and think about and wrestle with, that is me trying to step into, this thing. It's not a far off thing for me. I'm trying to figure it out every day. I think, to be an activist and an artist is always going to be a bit of a tension, because a lot of people would prefer, like, I forget who it was. just said to, like, when the basketball players were talking about Black Lives Matter, like, shut up and dribble or whatever. Like, a lot
Oh,
of people
that
want,
irritated me. Yeah.
but a lot of people want their entertainers, whether they're in sports or arts, to shut up and whatever, play,
Yeah.
dribble the ball, sing the
Yeah.
song. It don't, and for me, that's just like an impossible prospect. I'm always going to have to try to negotiate, but it is attention because people want that from you. They want you to shut up. They want you to stay small. They want you to kind of like, just make people laugh and smile and be pretty and don't rock the boat. So I try to figure that out every day. Like, it's literally like every day I try to dial in the balance of those things, but it's not like an abstract thing. It's something that I'm doing like day to day. Yeah.
Awesome. And we appreciate that because we need more people to speak up and try to help guide the youth like you're doing, but also help with a lot of the injustices that are going on, because it seems that like every day you get a news alert on your phone, like, so, it's good that people are willing to get up there and do something good about it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I loved seeing on your social media is you recently got engaged.
Yeah.
How is that working out? How's wedding planning? Have you guys started that? I mean, that's
Not you
one of the
too.
best things.
Everybody.
Yeah, now, I'm not asking when the wedding is. That's your business. I'm just saying how is planning going?
The planning actually, so my partner is also an actress. Her name is Leanna, and she's super talented and super smart. And yeah, we have been talking about getting engaged for a long time, and so it wasn't really a surprise moment for either of us, But yeah, we actually want to have a long engagement. So
Good. Smart move.
we just kind of crossed that. She really wanted the ring. I wanted to get her the ring.
Oh, there we go.
So we got that sorted. All of our family knows, and now we're just kind of like kicking back and trying to figure out the rest of the life. And then we'll figure out the wedding.
Yeah, take it slow, enjoy the moments because it goes so fast.
Yeah.
And you're like, "Achoo, what?" Well, I know you're short on time, so I won't keep you forever, but please let people know what is your next project that you are going to be sharing with the masses here out in the ether, and where people can reach out and support some of your projects.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a really fun interview.
Oh, good. Thanks.
Yeah, I hope folks had got something out of my answers. But you right now I can be found on Broadway at Buena Vista Social Club, the musical, which is a new musical based on the music and the lives of the actual Buena Vista Social Club, which was a band put together in 1999 is when the album came out. It kind of took the world by storm, out of Cuba. And it's a great show. If you know the music, you will love this show the way we've done it. And if you don't know the music, you will still love it because it truly is world-class music. You can pull it up on your favorite streaming platform and kind of preview it. And if you like it, come buy a ticket. So I'll be doing that for the foreseeable future. I mean, I think our tickets are on sale through September. So
that's a lot.
Selling, I'll be there, probably till then. I am taking my little personal days to come out to the convention. So here in Long Island, I'm, like I said, as the convention stuff, so I'll definitely announce those, and I'll say on my social media, which is at Chris Myers Inc., like Incorporated.
All right. I'll make sure to put those in the show notes so that everybody can be aware of what's going on and everybody can support what you're doing because, I feel like your first character is a lot like who you are. It's a pleasant, uplifting, and hopeful character. And I'm so excited to see you grow and thrive as an actor and artist. So I will be buying a ticket, but I'm poor, so I'll be up in the way back going, "Go, Chris!" Maybe they'll hear it.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much. We really appreciate it, guys. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Make sure you give us a rating on Spotify and iHeartRadio, as well as Apple iTunes, because every little thing like a free rating sells so much for a podcaster. It's big, big moves. So thanks again, Chris, and we will see you in Trek, Long Island.
See you there. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.